Welcome to the Holiday Heroes of Jersey podcast, where you'll hear profiles of the people making a difference through the Greater Newark Holiday Fund. Every year, the Holiday Fund empowers 10 amazing regional charities to deliver real help to real people right here in Jersey. Join us this holiday season as we bring you stories of changed lives and renewed hope made possible by generous donations and the dedicated people helping our neighbors who need it most across the Greater Newark, New Jersey region. Are you ready? Let's get to today's session.
Well, hello, friends, again. This is Kenny Jang coming to you from Podcast Land with the Holiday Heroes of Jersey podcast, broadcasting from the heart of New Jersey. Today's conversation is, I'm promising you, top-notch dialogue, because the guest that I have sitting across from me today is someone that you just need to listen to. It's Jason Altman, who's Regional Vice President at Enterprise Holdings and is one of the board members at the Greater Newark Holiday Fund. Thanks for joining us, Jason. I know your schedule's super, super busy. Really appreciate you sitting down with us this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
And so, again, I think one of the great things about our program, and the reason we have this podcast, is to shine a light on individuals like yourself, people that are in the marketplace but have made a distinctive decision to say, hey, I'm going to put aside some of my time to volunteer for a worthy cause like this. And we want to shine a light on a holiday hero like yours. So thank you so much for everything that you are doing in the nonprofit area. But first, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Enterprise Holdings and your background, and how did you first get involved with this specific nonprofit?
Sure. Well, Enterprise is a complete transportation solution provider. You probably know us best from our car rental division, where we operate the Enterprise Alamo and National brands. I'm the Regional Vice President of Central New Jersey and Staten Island, have bottom line responsibility for all the branches and people that support all those markets.
And so one of the things that the interesting story about Enterprise is that it's not a publicly traded company. It's still a private company. So the culture, from what my understanding and people that I've known over the years involved in Enterprise, that it is quite different than just, ruthless corporate America, that even, I guess the retail side of the business is embedded in local communities, and that you guys are invested in many different ways. And I guess volunteering like this is something that's encouraged and part of the culture of everyone on staff there.
Kenny, you've done your homework. Absolutely. It is really woven into the fabric that is our corporate culture, so much so that we're evaluated as business units, the degree to which we're great corporate citizens. We all compete for the coveted Jack Taylor Founding Values Award, which really measures the impact we have in many different ways. So yeah, it's a big part of who we are and what we do.
Yeah, and again, I think in today's society and culture, that is becoming much more apparent, that you need to take a double bottom line approach, multiple bottom line approach, and that consumers really care about that. And I think that's just one thing that your organization does really well. And part of that is you're involved with multiple charities and nonprofits. This is one of them. How did you first hear about the Greater Newark Holiday Fund? How did you first get involved?
Yeah, really through a colleague. I used to run Newark Airport for Enterprise and developed a real connection with the city, the surrounding community, wanted to make a difference. And the Greater Newark Holiday Fund proved to be a great mechanism for doing that. I'll tell you a little story and why I really appreciate the fund, the people there, and the work that we do. I walked into my first meeting, and guys like me were involved in all kinds of different nonprofits, organizations. And the Holiday Fund just felt different to me. It was a small, battle-savvy group of people, scrappy and gritty, not too unlike the communities that they serve. It's not a large organization. We don't have a tremendous amount of funding, but gosh, these folks are committed, not afraid to get their hands dirty. They're in it. Really, really powerful stuff.
It is one of those lean organizations, right? It's got this history of being in place for 80. This is the 80th year of the Greater New York Holiday Fund, right? But yet it's not this huge organization. There's no, corporate offices. There's no glitz and glam. It is really, I think, what I love seeing in the board members like you is that you honestly are committing and volunteering your time, your own resources. You're getting wholly involved, right? And so that's one of the things I love seeing about your participation.
Yeah, I see us, Kenny, almost as the, if you're familiar with the film, the Rudy of nonprofits, right? The ultimate underdog. But again, we're committed, nose to the grindstone, sparks flying. I, for one, proud to be a small part of what we've got going on here.
Yeah, and so for people who are listening for the first time today, the one, I guess, differentiator is that the Greater New York Holiday Fund doesn't itself deliver the services in terms of charity social service support. Could you share a little bit about how the fundraising works and the whole flow of it for people getting to know the Greater New York Holiday Fund for the first time today?
Yeah, we're, we'll take support from anywhere and frankly need it. So there's companies like mine that have foundations, right? We rely on foundation support. We rely on donations from individuals, right? And the size of the donation, nothing's too small, right? In fact, if you go back to the genesis of the organization, it started with a partnership with the Star Ledger, which has evolved into New Jersey Advanced Media. The partnership's still very much intact. And people get their names in the paper, right? For $5, $10, $20 donation.
Yes, I think that's the fun part. Everybody who donates, I think it's every Sunday, every week they publish and recognize the donors. And you're right. The smallest donation, the largest donation, they all get recognized there. It's a fun way this holiday season to treat grandkids or friends and families to put a donation in honor of somebody and get their name in print.
Yeah, who doesn't love having their name in the paper?
Yeah, so the fact that you guys collect this money of fundraising during the holiday season, and then you distribute it to 10 different worthy social service agencies and nonprofits in the area. Could you share a little bit about some of those? What is there any stories in particular that you can help put a face to a name or humanize this whole operation so that people understand the real transformation or the real need on the ground that these social service agencies are facing every day?
Yeah, you bet. It's interesting. I sat on our resource allocation committee for a year. So I have intimate firsthand knowledge of all the partner organizations. They all do great work. But since you asked, one in particular really resonates. And one of the really neat things about the Greater Newark Holiday Fund and its board is that we're encouraged to go out, meet the recipient organizations, learn more about them. And that journey of discovery led me to Family Connections, right? These are good people doing great work. They run a variety of different programs. And one of them is called Clean and Cool. It supports teenagers, underprivileged, underserved kids.
Nice.
And these kids are fighters, right? But they don't see themselves as part of the American dream. It's heartbreaking in many ways. I'm a father of two. I've got two teenage kids. I can't imagine, Kenny, a world where this exists, but it's happening right here in and around Newark. And part of Family Connections' mission statement is to engender hope. And gosh, that's such a powerful thing. And to see firsthand the impact that it has on these kids, to see a light bulb go off and for them to realize, boy, I could go to school. I do have a shot at higher education and getting out of this. Honestly, a lot of the kids that go there, it's mandated, right? That's where they start, but they continue going there because of the difference it makes and the opportunities that it affords them. And the success stories that come out of there boy, if you're not moved by that, Kenny, gosh, I don't know. It's
So good.
wonderful.
So good. Yeah, I think, and again, that piece of it, I think, is one of the intangibles that sometimes when we measure our quotes ROI, return on investment, in terms of supporting a charity or social service agency, sometimes that gets lost in the mix. But yet, that is probably the most valuable thing that you can embed in a child, to give them hope for a future and unlimited possibilities ahead of them. Right? That's just something that we don't see every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, these guys, they're making a real difference. Again, just proud to be a small part of what they're doing. All the organizations are doing great work. That one really resonated with me, and fresh off a recent visit.
So during the holiday season in particular, we start to get inundated with solicitation for a lot of charities, and there's tons of great charities out there. Some of them are global, some of them are national, some of them are regional. We don't tend to hear that many localized charities. The Greater New York Holiday Fund does serve and partner with these agencies in 6 different counties across New Jersey. Can you share a little about your thoughts? We talked a little bit about why you think it's important to invest such a great amount of energy into a local effort, and not just forsake it and go with the ones that have the large ad campaigns, the TV campaigns, the ones that are using celebrities for national global operations. Why Greater Newark, and why local?
Well, because frankly, we need it, Kenny, right? We need the help. As I mentioned before, it's a real underdog story. And listen, the board and the people at the fund, they're out there fighting to make a difference. And right, we don't have the same level of investment, the same advertising budget as some of the more well-known charities. But Newark and the surrounding areas, they need us, right? We need you, and they need us. And gosh, together we can make a real difference. So I'm hopefully optimistic that this will be a call to arms. I'd love for people just to check it out. I don't even need you to donate money, but just invest a little time. Learn a little bit more about what we've got going on here, the member organizations, and consider, right? Just consider sharing it with a friend or colleague. We'd love your help or support. But the primary reason, frankly, is we need you.
Yeah, I think it's a great message, and I think that people need to take that message deep in the heart. One of the things that people get stuck in this holiday rush is trying to figure out how to stop for a moment and make some meaning out of it. Do you have any suggestions, I guess, for your friends and family? How are you influencing them or making those suggestions for people to actually find meaning in the season and do some good? And what do you say to encourage friends to get involved, whether it's volunteer, whether it's actually donate funds, or even, like you said, to share the message, bring awareness to some of these causes? I think you're a really good encourager. What's that message that you bring to your friends and your circle of influences, both at work, at home, and different places?
Sure. Well, it's different across the spectrum, right? With my colleagues or business partners, and you touched on it earlier. It's really corporate social responsibility as a business imperative. I don't think this is a nice to have anymore. It's you've got to have it. It's a mechanism to attract and retain top tier talent, for these people to feel more connected to the communities that they serve, and frankly, hopefully, to me as an employer.
And so for your employees, your teams, and some of them that are involved with different causes on their own, is that something that you honestly are seeing in this, I guess, next younger generation of emerging leaders? We always hear that millennials want significance over salary. Is that something that explicitly they are looking for? Is that something that they are prioritizing, or is it something that it's a checkbox and it's an obligation?
No, I think it's I'm pleased to say it's a real priority. We're one of the largest recruiter of college graduates in the country. And it comes up right when we turn to a prospect and say, do you have any questions? They ask about our CSR platform, the work they're doing, and how they as an employee can be involved.
Wow. And so let's talk about that just for a little bit, because I want to shine more light on that. So is that something is that formal, or is it just part of the culture of the company? Is that something that, if I talk to other executives at parallel areas in your company, are they taking that same approach? Is that something that, the corporate responsibility piece, is that just something you're a champion of and everyone knows that Jason Altman is doing great things with his unit, and that's part of your secret sauce, that your team and that engine of growth, et cetera, that you bring, and that's part of that? Or is that something across the board, formulaic, deep, structured into the company?
Yeah, it's certainly the latter. Well, I'm really proud of the work that my team and I do. It happens globally at Enterprise. It comes from our founder, our ownership, and really permeates throughout the organization.
What would be the differentiator, the distinctive? How do you, if we were at a business mastermind marketplace group and there's discussions where people are saying, hey, look, we're in cutthroat times. This is not a cushy economic times where everyone has tons of margin, and that we can just release our people for even one day a month to go off and actually volunteer somewhere. How do you convince other business owners out there, managers, to say, hey, it's worth it to actually encourage this both on the clock and off the clock culture? What is that distinctive? What's the change that you believe in? How does it manifest itself?
Well, it's keeping current. This has evolved over time. This notion of CSR as a business imperative, and again, it's weaving it into your business strategy, into your recruiting, engagement, and retention plans. You can strategically partner with other organizations, right, to do good together. That's fine. We make money together, and that's important. Even better to make a difference, especially now. And using the Greater Newark Holiday Fund, for example, as a mechanism to do that. Really, really powerful. It builds partnerships. From my perspective, it's always wonderful to know that you're doing business with a like-minded company and a local company, right? That supports the communities we serve together. It works.
That's a very, very good point. So one of the things we love to do with the Holiday Heroes in our interviews is say, hey, if we were to give you a magic wand and you were to just wave the wand and able to have something happen, what's one personal holiday wish for the program that you might be able to share with us? Is there something specific or generically overall that you would love to see happen this next year with the Greater Newark Holiday Fund and the supporter base?
Oh boy, if I could wave that magic wand, I'd look for more involvement and support. Again, I can't underpin it enough. The communities we serve, they need us, and we need you, whoever you might be. If you're operating a business in the area, we'd love to hear from you. If you have an interest in joining the board, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to share this story with friends or colleagues, very much appreciated. Of course, any financial contribution makes a big difference. And why not get your name in the paper, right? Again, who doesn't love it?
that's always a treat. Now, after hearing your story today in our conversation, there are people that are leaning forward, I'm sure. We're getting the feedback from other podcast interviews that's saying, hey, look, it's opened up some possibilities in my mind. It's really changed my heart to say, hey, I want to commit and do something that I've always wanted to do. And that's really instilled generosity into my family, into my own personal, disciplines, et cetera. What would you say to that person that's leaning forward but not quite there? How would you say, what's the pitch? If you had them right in front of us right now, how would you grab them and say, look, you need to look and prioritize Greater Newark Holiday Fund across all the other things that we're doing? How do you convince them that this is their best bet in terms of getting involved, whether with their time or their talents?
Yeah, again, it's a unique opportunity. It provides for a portfolio of giving or volunteering opportunities. It is really focused in this area. If you care at all about this area because you live here, you're somehow connected to it, you operate a business here, this is a wonderful mechanism to make a difference. I'd simply say, come on in, the water's fine, right? We've got good people doing great work, and we're always looking for other like-minded individuals to pitch in. And it doesn't have to be a heavy lift, right? Exactly. We'll accommodate folks who want to do what I do. That's great. If not, well, that's fine too. Anything makes a difference.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for sacrificing your time and giving us your time today to share a little bit about your involvement with the fund right here in our backyard in the state of Jersey. Heroes like you are making a difference where it counts. Really appreciate being with us. If someone wants to reach out to you or learn a little bit more about some of the things you mentioned today, what's the best way for them to connect with you and learn more about the things that you talked about, the Greater New York Holiday Fund, how you're approaching it at Enterprise Holdings, et cetera?
But yeah, well, you can contact us through holidayfund.org. There's a contact us section there. I'd love to hear from you. You can also get me via email. That's Jason Altman at ehi.com.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate you being so accessible, because I think one of the things in this conversation that's quite different than our other podcast interviews is showing that other side and the approach and the why to being involved and why the support is so critical. And I think that's a great perspective that you've lent us today. So thank you so much for coming on the show today, Jason.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Kenny.
And thank you to all our listeners here for being with us in this journey as we go and meet each of our holiday heroes this season. I invite you to find out more about the Greater Newark Holiday Fund at 2017.holidayfund.org. When you donate, remember, you're making a difference where it counts. And please help us get the word out by dropping a comment below, or please consider taking that extra step. Give us a rating on the podcast platform on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Network. That is a super impactful way, a practical way that you're going to help us reach more people so that we can share the opportunity to help more people this holiday season. Till next time, I'm Kenny Jang, the host of the Holiday Heroes podcast. Remember, be good and be generous this holiday season.
If you enjoyed today's session, please help us share the work of the Greater Newark Holiday Fund with friends and family who can make a difference in northern New Jersey. You can do that by leaving a review on iTunes or by sharing our website, 2017.holidayfund.org, with your network. We believe that those who practice generosity during this critical time of year are our very own hometown holiday heroes. Let your generosity make a difference where it counts. The Greater Newark Holiday Fund is a giving partner you can believe in, trusted by more than 20 corporate and foundation grants, and thousands of individual donors just like you. And don't forget to join us every week, right here, for the next installment of the Hometown Heroes of Jersey podcast.